Good morning, YouTube friends. Thanks so much for coming by. Today, Olive and I are cooking up some healthy dog treats, chock full of pumpkin and peanut butter flavor. Your doggies will be sure to enjoy them, even more than Olive enjoys wearing this awesome chef hat. Keep on watching to see how we make them. Okay guys, this recipe is super simple. We're starting out with a half a cup of pumpkin puree, just straight up pumpkin, none of that pumpkin pie filling stuff that just has a ton of added sugar. We're just going for the real deal here. Mixing that with a cup of all natural peanut butter. I'm just kind of mixing it together with a fork to loosen up that peanut butter so it'll mix throughout our dough a little bit more easily. So pumpkin is a fabulous ingredient to put into dog treats. It has a ton of vitamin C in it. It's naturally sweet tasting, so I think a lot of dogs enjoy the flavor of it. Also, it really can help regulate any sort of tummy issues your dog may have, so it's a win-win in my opinion. Onto our dry ingredients, I've got some whole oats, also some oats that I've buzzed up in my blender to make a bit of a rough oat flour, and some brown rice flour. I tend to prefer to use brown rice flour or a whole wheat flour. You can use whatever you want though. I just feel like those kinds of flours have a bit more nutrition in them. So I've got all our ingredients in my KitchenAid here with a dough hook, and I'm just slowly adding water until a dough forms when I squeeze it. Be careful with the water. I use about 3/4 of a cup, but it kind of varies depending on what kind of flour and oats you use. So just keep adding and scraping down the sides until when you squeeze it, it comes together. I think I'll show you here in just a moment. It looks a little bit like granola. See how you can squeeze it together and it's kind of like a soft dough now? That's perfect. So I've just used a bit of that rice flour and spread it along my work surface and turned out the dough onto the table, and we're just going to kind of get this rolled out just like you would cookie dough. It's soft enough that I can kind of press it with my hands a bit before we start rolling. I may or may not have covered my rolling pin, which happens to be like 2.5 feet long, which is a little excessive. It's totally covered with clay right now, so I'm getting a little creative with my rolling pin strategy here. Use my hands, and then I have got a handy dandy round glass that I'm just going to use to finish up the edges. Make everything nice and even. Improvising, also sticking. I should have put a little bit of flour on that, but we're just gonna make it work here. And we're rolling and rolling. Let's be honest, Olive is going to like these treats no matter what they look like, so we're doing good. I've got my dough about, I'd say between 1/8 and 1/4 inch thick. That seems to be pretty perfect. At this point, you can cut them into any shape. You can just take a knife and cut them into squares or triangles or something, or you can get a little fancy with it and use cookie cutters. I do happen to have a Milk-Bone cookie cutter that I'm going to use. There it is. So I'm just going to get these as close together as possible and cut everything out, and then I'll scrunch together all the dough again and do it again until my dough is gone. Easy enough, right? It's like making sugar cookies for the kids, just your kids are furry. So once our shapes are all cut out, I'm just going to place them onto a cookie sheet that's lined with either a silicone mat or parchment paper so we don't have any sticking. My oven is preheated to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to throw these little guys in there for about 20 to 25 minutes. You just want them to get a little bit more golden brown on top, and you'll be able to feel that they're definitely a little bit crispy. That's how you know you're good to go. So I've cut out a bunch of the Milk-Bone shapes. I've got this little bit of dough left. I thought I would take the rest to show you how I make just little square ones. These are kind of nice. They're a little bit smaller, so I can add them to Olive's food as like a little treat, and it isn't a giant bone. So I'm just shaping out a little rectangle here. I've got the dough just a little bit thicker since we're making little tiny squares, so they should cook about the same amount of time as the little bones do. Just keep an eye on them. Just going to make this little rectangle, and then I'm going to kind of cut it like a grid into a bunch of squares. Super simple, self-explanatory. Easy enough. So I'm just going to throw these little guys in the oven and we will have plenty to last Olive quite a while. These will last in a cool, dry place for at least 3 weeks. We've also got plenty to share with her little doggy friends. My mom's dog Ozzy and my aunt's dog Luna will hopefully enjoy some of these as well. And this is what they look like coming out of the oven. As you can see, they're a little bit more golden brown. They're definitely a little bit hard or crispy to the touch. These are perfect. I believe Olive is going to love them. Happy, happy girl right here. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We hope that you're staying safe and healthy, and we hope your doggies enjoy these treats as much as Olive does. We can't wait to talk to you soon. Cheers.